can see my screen wherever you are. We're going to look at a new concept of Python programming. And this particular one, we have actually, during the process of going to our functions and our strings, the first program we wrote, looking at function as a whole, I looked for a way of integrating that, and which I did. If you look at the certain segment that we did for our function project, we looked at when the is screen.reset, we looked at if it's true or if it's going to be false. So this is more of like a linked up kind of a course that is going to like actually try to expose more. It's going to bring out more of what you actually know about true or false statements. So get ready, and tonight we are going to just just introduce it, try to play around with it, look at the different syntax that is involved with that. So let's go straight to the point and let's make it practical enough. So I hope you can see my screen and you can hear me. Please, I want to confirm that you can see my screen and also you can hear me.
Yes, we can see both the screen and hear you clearly.
Yes.
Loud and clear.
All right, loud and clear. All right, let's go there. Okay, guys, tonight we'll be looking at conditional statements. And when we make mention of conditional statement, we simply say that is an expression that evaluates either a particular Python code or a particular code that you're running is either true or false. So a conditional statement only expresses either a particular code is either true or false. So anything that we do, we are going to check if it's going to be true or it's going to be false. And there are certain syntaxes, there are certain signs that we use in this particular process. So let's just make it more practical and let's see. For example, we type 6, let's say equals 6. If you run this particular code on your Colab right now, I'm using this particular cell. If you want to use your PyCharm, you can actually just use print. But if you run this, you can see the outcome of it is true. The outcome is true. Outcome of it is true because this is a conditional. This is what we call the comparison operator, or we call it the equality check. Either you call it comparison operator or you call equality check. So this is already telling you that 6 equals 6. That is definitely true. But if you put something like this and put 6 equals 5, it's definitely going to return a particular statement and it's going to be false. So these are the things that we're going to be looking at, and we'll bring out more things for us to like get a hands-on to do. So without wasting much of your time, you have already understood a particular concept using the equality check, and we are going to move further to other Python syntaxes as well to express conditionals. Okay, so the first one we'll be looking at is we have done that already. I'm going to use more of a markdown. So let me change it to, let me delete this and change it to, let me make this. Okay, so let me create a text. So the next one I'm going to look at is we have done x equals y, which is what we just did now. The next one I'm going to look at, which is x is equal to y. This is the first one. X is equal to y. The next one is going to be x. Just look at what I'm doing. Exclamation equals y. This particular expression, Boolean expression, is trying to tell you that x is not equal to y. X is not equal to y. That is what this particular expression means. And you can go to the next one, which is x is what is definitely what less than y. This is another expression on its own. X is less than y, which is very practical enough for us to understand that x is definitely less than y. We go to the next one, and we go to the next one, which is going to be x is definitely greater than y. After that, then the next one we're going to look at is x less than or equals to y, which is going to be x less than or equals. Please know where the a less than sign is coming and the equal sign is coming, because some persons will tend to like put the equality sign first and put the less than letter on, which is going to give you a very serious, wonderful error. So this is x is less than or equals to y. The next one we're going to look at is x is definitely what? Greater than or equals to y. Okay, so these are the ones we're looking at. They are called Boolean expressions. We are called Boolean expression. So I'm going to look at a practical explanation of this particular concept. So let me try and get a code. Let me try and get a code right now. So let's define two variables. X is equals to, let's use 13, and also let's use y equals to let's use 9, and return to what? Let's try and print all this one out. So let's just create another code. Let's try and create another code, and let's see how we can actually say if this is true, if this is false. We can decide to say print. We can start using all these operators now that we have used before. So we can say is x, first of all, we're going to say x equals y. That's the first one we're going to use. If you run this, which is definitely, I don't want to run that for now. I'm going to do all of them at once. So the next one is print. The next one is print. The next one is going to be x. X is not equals to y. The next one is going to be what? Print. The next one is going to be x. Let's use x is what? X is less than, which is something that we know what is going to happen. I just want something that we can actually see by ourselves. The same thing will just be printing that. I want us to just look at how it's going to be, which you already know the outcome at some point. So you just want to make it to fulfill all righteousness, because some persons are already getting the whole concept already. So we print, and the next one we're going to use is either x is less than or equals to y. After that, the next one is print, which is going to be x is either what? X is greater than or equals to y. Okay, I think so if you try to run all this, if you try to print this on out, it's supposed to give you certain things. And before I run it, I would like to just make it more interactive enough and ask some questions as a whole. So maybe I'll be calling out some persons. I don't know if Mr. Mfonobong, can you answer can you predict the outcome of this particular codes right now? The first one, the second, the third, and the fourth. I don't know. Can you do that?
Let me see the code again.
Okay, but I can't really hear you. It seems you're not audible enough.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right. So just move your screen up a bit. I think with the normal, if you just look at it with your normal eyes, definitely x13 it's not equals to 9. So I think the first one will be false.
Okay.
Yeah. And the second one will be true, because the expression the exclamation before and is means not equal. So this one definitely is false. So it's true rather.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Then the third one is x is less than y. 13 is obviously greater than y. So that one is x is less than y. That's false.
All right. I think I've gotten the whole concept of it. Thank you very much, Mr. Fonobon. You're well done. So let's confirm if it's going to be true. Sometimes you could run like this and all of a sudden you get errors. So let's see what it will give us. So you can see there is an error. You can see there is an error. Guys, can you tell me what happened here? Something happened here. Looking at the Jupyter notebook, we have gotten an error right now. The code, I don't think anything is wrong with that code. What do you think is wrong right now with this particular Jupyter notebook that is not working when you're working with Jupyter notebook?
Hello,
We have
can I
gotten
answer?
Yes, Mr. Sunday.
You did not run
You are yet to run the value of y equals and x equals to 13 and y equals to 9.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well done, well done. That should be the answer. Let's click on it. So we did not run this and we went straight to create a new code, a new cell. We did not run this particular cell, but on PyCharm, it's not going to be like this. It's just going to give you a normal statement as a whole. So we have to run this for it to tick first. So it has ticked that is green. Now, if you click here and run this now, nothing should be, if anything happens right now, that means that village press people are really after us here. So right now you see false, true, false, true, false, true. Why is it so? Because we have defined x to be 13, y to be 9. And for us to, the first one is false. It means that definitely x is not the same thing as y. And the second one is true. Why is so? Because definitely x is not y. According to what we said, is not the same value as y. The same thing that happens, this particular one is false true because x is definitely not less than y. So as we see all these things are really things that we can actually see with our physical eyes, and we can use our main mathematics idea, even though you think you may not really know math. But at this particular point, this last to means that x is less than or equals to y. X is not less than, x is 13, so x is never less than y, and it's not equals to y. So that's why it's giving you false. And the last one is true because x is definitely greater than y, but definitely is not equals to y. So one of these conditions is true. That's why it is giving you what? True. So I think we understand that particular concept. If you do not understand this concept, please let me know before I move to the next thing we want to look at tonight, which is going to be something that if you do not understand this one, you might not really get this particular one. So if you have any questions right now, please let me know. Please let me know. Any questions right now? Any questions? Okay, I believe at this point we are good to go. Nena, and do you understand what you have done so far? Charity, do you understand? Charity said she does not understand math. She's not a math person. I hope you understand right now.
Yes. Yes, at least I understand based on how you did that X, because you've taught us already in the other distance. So
yes. Fantastic. Well done. Well done. At least I'm very sure that everybody's on point right now. I can move ahead. I can move forward. All right. Thank you very much. Please, Mr. Moses, you just joined in. Please put on your video. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. So the next thing we're going to look at is what we call logical expression. This is what you'll be using most, especially in your codes as well. It is very, very important in your coding, and it's going to really make a whole lot of sense as we progress. It is called logical expressions. Is either we use an or. Is either we use an or. For example, let me create a text. Let me create a markdown kind of. So either we have the logical operators. We either use and what or. So these are what we call logical expressions. And please listen to the condition for and if you are running a particular code. And is going to be true if both the conditions are true. If both the conditions are true. For example, if you are running, I wish I'm going to show you practically. If both conditions are true, that is when and is going to run as true. But if both conditions are not the same, it's going to return false. But that of logical expression of or is true if any of the condition is true. It is going to be true if any of the condition is true, false if all conditions are false. Okay, so let's look at a practical example here. Let's look at a practical example here. So let's use true.
Please come again. Please come again.
Okay, what
Those
I said that. Okay, and the and logical expression means that both conditions must be met for it to be true. If, for example, Ekemini and let's say Ekemini and Charity, if those two things are coming together right now, and the return of that particular thing will be false, because Ekemini and Charity are not the same thing. But if it's Ekemini and Ekemini, or Ekemini or Charity and Charity, it is going to return true. But that of a or is going to be different. If only one condition is met, it is going to be what? It is going to be true, which we most especially we normally use the conditional statement as either true and false, which you are going to see practically here. I don't know if you understand right now. Can I proceed? Permission to carry on.
Carry on. Yeah. Proceed.
Yes,
Okay.
carry on.
All right. So true and true. So let's look true and true. If we run this now, let's see what it will give us. So the answer here is what? Is definitely true. But if we look for another one right now and add another cell and say true and false. Let's see what it will give us here. So you can see it returns false. Okay. So if you do false and true, it's going to give us false. If you do false and false, right now, if you do false and false, if you use false and false, here, it's going to return the value for what? It's going to return false. Okay, so the same thing with is different when it comes to or. So if we do the same thing here for or, instead of and here, we use or. Both conditions here are met. So at this particular point, it's going to return true. But let's try to use false right now. Why am I using small f here? So true or false. So what we are going to do right now, if you run this, is going to return what? True, because one of the condition is actually what? True. So that's exactly what or does. And if you put false or false, which I'm going to show you, if you put false or false, as we said, it's going to give us what? It's going to return what? False for us. So this is more of a practical kind of case, but this particular one is just using true or false statement. So now let's look at a real world example. Let's right now. Let's see. Let's define two variables, and let's define the first one to be A. Let's use A, and let's see equals. Let's use 6. Let's use 6, and let's say equals 6. Let's use that. And if we run this now and we want to call out A now, if we want to print out A, we're just printing A. Just print A right now. If we print this out, you can see A is true because it is what? 6 is equals 6. So let's just try, let's do the same thing for B. Let's do the same thing for B here, but I'm just trying, I'm going to learn at a particular point right now. There's something I'm trying to build right now, which I will explain it better of when we see it practically. So B, let's define another variable. B equals, let's use strings character. We have been using numbers at some point. Let's use string characters, and let's see a practical example. Let's use something like, let's use C. Let's use C and say equals, and remember that string characters, and when it comes to characters, they are case sensitive. The small letter C is not the same thing as a capital letter C. So let's just see something. Let's just see something. Okay. So let's just capital C. So if you look at this right now, and if we decide to say print B right now, which we have defined as a variable here, if we decide to do this and run it now, you can see it has returned false. It has returned false right now because a small letter C is not the same as letter C. So now let's try and get some things done by ourselves. Let's say you want to bring these variables together and let's play with it like a practical example. Let's see if you want to combine the variable and a variable B, and let's see how we can use. I'm going to introduce another concept known as the format string. We use a particular. Remember, we use the F string before, but particular one use the format string. Is always almost called a formatted string, and it was always used in the Python 2, but it's also necessary in the stage and which we want to use. So let's just pay attention and let's see make this work for us. So I'm going to just try to explain the whole concept of true and true, true and false, true false or true, and this. So this is what we're going to use this as a practical example right now. The thing I'm going to do right now is going to be the first thing I'm going to do right now, I'm going to just run the first one, which is A and B for AND. I'm going to use AND at this particular stage. So watch what I want to do right now. So we're going to print. So print. We are printing something right now, and please pay attention. The first thing I'm going to do is to put in a curly bracket, which that particular curly bracket is representing a particular variable. Is representing a particular variable, which is what we are going to use when we reference it at the end. It comes at the end when we want to reference it. So the first thing we're going to say is, and it always numbers. So the first one I'm going to do, I'm going to put it in a curly bracket, and I'm going to put it as 0, and I'm going to use the AND operator right now. Okay, so AND. Then I reference another variable, which is the second one, which I'm going to state at the end. And after that, definitely I just want to put a colon just to clarify things. The next one I'm going to do is going to be another variable right now, which I'm going to label it as what? 2. And once I'm done with that, you can see I'm going to leave the strings, and I'm going to put format, and I'm going to reference all the variables in which I've done for 0, 1, and 2. So pay attention. These are the variables. The first one is A, representing the 0. The first one is A, representing the 0. The next one, comma, is B, representing 1, which you already defined B to be C, small letter C equals C, and A, we have referenced it to be A equals 6 equals 6. So the next one we are going to do right now, the next variable in which we are referencing is going to be 2, which is A and B. A and B. A and B. So I don't know if you understand what I just did now. So this is like a formatted kind of string. If we have done 0, 1, 2. So once we did dot format, we are now referencing all the variables in which we use for 0. 0 is representing A here, 1 is representing B here, and 2 is representing A and B. So if you run this now, what do you think is going to be our answer? What do you think is going to be our answer? What do you think is going to be our answer? I don't know if someone can just have a mental picture of what is going to happen. Like, just put something in your head right now. I don't know. You can look at what I just did in the first one. A was defined as 6 is supposed to equal 6. So what do you think will be the answer for this particular value of 0? And what will be the value for 1 here? And
Hello, we can't hear you.
I don't think he's on this call again.
Yeah, I think he left. The network is crazy or something.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna join back or so. Let me just give it some time.
Yeah.
Hello, please, I can't hear anything.
Maybe he left the meeting.
Okay, okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
he's not going back.
Okay.
He's
Hello,
back.
can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Who took? It seems someone took
Yes, we
over.
can hear you.
Someone took over the class. Sorry about that. I think I had issues with my network at some point. At
Yeah,
what
yeah.
point did you guys stop hearing me? Please, I need to know.
When we are supposed to like guess the answer, is it like
Oh,
false,
wow.
true,
Okay,
false?
great. Okay, let me share my screen again. Okay, so at what point? Okay, you guys were just brainstorming at the point. Let me check the chat. I hope I could see the chat.
No, we didn't put it
Okay.
up there.
Okay, so this is what I was trying to say. What do you think is going to be the values for A, B, A, and B here? What do you think will be the values? What are we going to get?
False, true, false, or something.
Okay, let's just run it and see. Let's run it and see how it is going to. So let me try to reconnect. So it's initializing, because at this particular point, if you do not, it's not going to run. So it's connected now. I can run this and let's see what you have. So you can see we have true and false. It means that remember when we got this particular answer, which was the first one was true, which we did here already. The second one was false, which a small letter C is not the same as a capital C. And true and false is going to give us what? False, because of what we look at what we did A and B. So any value that we get for A and B, we are going to bring it back and say, okay, any value that you have A and B. So this is what you have, and it's going to give you what? False. So let's do the same thing for or, and we'll have, let's just do the same thing for or. Control C, and let's create a new cell. So we print Control V, and anywhere we see and, we change it to or. So at this particular point, I would like to call out names. If you can get the answer, let's see. What do you think will be the value? This first one was true and false, and the final answer gave us false. What do you think is going to be one each? What do you think is going to be, guys?
The final answer will be true.
Final answer will be true. You can put it in the chat box. You can put all of them together. Put all of them together in the chat box. Everyone should just try it out. Okay. What do you think will be your answers? Put it in the chat box. Put it in the chat box. You can put it in the chat box, even in the chat room on WhatsApp. If you can't get it here, what will be your answer? I can see Charity is typing. I'm so happy. A lot of persons are typing. Everybody's typing true. Tosin said true. True.
Please, can we see the code? Please, can we see the code again?
Someone is actually true. Please put it in the chat room. Odinaka, true or false? True or false? Mr. Odinaka, I'm seeing true or false, true or false. Which one are you taking?
Can we see the code?
Okay. Please put in your answer in the chat box, please. Okay, I can see false, true. I can see true or false, true. Mr. Solomon, I can see Odinaka. Okay, Mr. Odinaka, I'm seeing true or false, true or false. Let's see. See Charity. Charity said false, true. Okay, true, of course. Please put it in the chat box. Put in the chat room. I'm looking at the chat, the meeting chat right now. Okay, Mark said true. Mr. Mark said true, false. Funso Adekule said true or true, false. Okay, let's see. Okay, false, true. Mr. Sunday is typing. Okay, Mr. Sunday said true, true, true. Okay, without wasting much of our time, let's go and confirm who got it right and who did not. We'll try to get it the next time. So let's print it out and see. So we have the answer is going to be true or false, and the final answer is true. So I'm going to go to the chat room. I can see Mr. Sunday got it, Mfonabon got it, Charity got it, so Mr. Solomon got it too. Odinaka, I do not know what is it true or false that he gave us. Mr. Kwemi was very confident that the answer will be true. Of course, it is true. True. Thank you very much for attempting. At this particular point, I would like to say we are officially done for this particular meeting. And if you have any questions to ask right now, please do not hesitate to ask. Please ask your questions right now, wherever you are. Ask your questions. Please ask your questions. Before I even end the class, I would like to go back and recap a little. We started with conditionals. We said that conditionals are either going to return either a true or false. We started with 6 equals 6 at first, which the answer gave us true. And at this particular point, we looked at, we said that this is an equality check or the comparison operator. We looked at different ones. We said that there is what we call, the first one here is that means it is the same like equality check. That means x is the same as y. This one x exclamation sign equals to means is not. That means it is definitely true. Looking at this expression here, you know that x is not the same thing as y. Looking at the values that they have, and it said x is less than y, which is going to be false. X is greater than y, it is true. X is less than or equals to y, which is not true, is going to be false. So these are the things that we had. We got the values, and we looked at logical expression, and we said that and is going to come out as true if both conditions are met. For example, true and true will give us true, but true and false will give us false, because not all of them are is if the condition is true. So anyone that is false and false is going to be false. And now we went further to or. We said that or will only can work if only one condition is meant to be true. So this is true or false. It gave us the value to be true. If it's false or false, it's going to return false. But if it's what they call it, yes, if it's false or false, it's going to return a particular concept to be what? False. So we now looked at a practical example, a real life situation. We defined a variable a and we equated it to 6 equals 6, and once we printed out, it's going to be true because this condition is the same. But if I put 5 here, it's going to be false because it's not the same. And we looked at small letter c equals c, capital C. If we print the value for b, the variable b is going to return false because the strings are case sensitive, and once it's case sensitive, it means that the small letter c is not as the same as capital C. And we went further to express more things using the formatted kind of string, and we reference variables by using numbers. This is an old way of doing things when it comes to Python, but it's actually very necessary and it's very simple enough for anyone to understand. What did we do? We defined a string and we printed it, and any way we want to reference a particular variable, we define it into numbers. So the 0 is going to take the variable a, which we have defined already, and b is going to take that of b. The 1 is going to take b, which we have defined it to be b equals to small letter c equals capital C. Once we got that, we now said, okay, 2 is now representing a and b, which is what happened here is that the first value which we have a returned us as true, the b here gave us false. So if we combine a and b, which is false and true and false, is going to return as what? False, because both conditions are not true. That's why it's going to give us false. But if we look at the or, true or false is going to give us what? True, because one condition is true. At this particular point, I would like to ask, do you have any questions, or can we move further? And we are going to, at this particular point, I would not like to move further at this point. I would like to move to the next class and try to make sure that we follow things gradually. We have 100 days. We started on the 3rd of February. We are taking things one step at a time. If you do not understand any question, please let me know at this point. Thank you very much.
Just the what on top of that idea. What to? I think.
I don't know who is that, so please let him not break someone's head. Okay,
on top of that idea. What to? I beg.
He has unmuted himself again. Hello? Okay, is there any question? I'm not seeing any hands raised. If there are no questions, you understand everything,
Hello?
please.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you, Mr. Mfonobong.
Yeah, I don't really have a question. Mine is an off-topic call. Sorry to bother you.
Okay.
Mine is off-topic. The submission file, I cannot upload more than one
Give me change. I
file.
beg. I go do.
Hey, Mr. Samuel Adeyele, please mute yourself. We don't want change here. Nigeria has not encountered change yet, or change of. Mr. Mfonobong, you said your file for what?
I can't upload more than one .py file on the Google submission form.
How many did you want to upload, sir? I thought it's going to be one inside one particular one. It's not when you call your.
Okay, I should copy all the code inside one particular file.
Exactly, but you can actually, once you want, remember that before you work with a function, for a function not to interrupt, you must call it out. So for you to call it out, you can decide to just comment it out for me. I'll be the one to check myself to confirm that it's working for you. So any place you're supposed to do a function call, and in which all those to-dos, try and do them. And anytime you want to create a function call, you can just comment it out so that I can decide to do what. Or you can just decide to also comment all your code and just submit it like that. I'll go through it one after the other. Like each line, I'll look at it. I'll look at the syntax. If there's any error, I'll meet you one after the other.
All right.
Please, any other person right now, any other question, any other suggestion, any other observation that we can do to make it better for us in this Squid edition? Some persons are saying that the assignment should be extended, but I gave it since. Now I don't know why. The only thing that was not given was a submission link, and we have been doing more of this practice all the time. So what date is it convenient enough for us to submit the assignment? Is our first date? Someone suggested Saturday. Before the next class?
Yes, now.
Okay, you're speaking for yourself. Some persons are saying we should do it, we should submit it on Saturday. Some persons are saying next
Saturday,
we
please.
just enter. When I know vex, so we just join the house. I beg you.
Hey, Mr. Samuel, please, I'm begging you in the name that is above every other name. Please mute yourself. Please, suggestion for the submission date. So I expected it to be today, but I don't think I've seen enough submission, and I cannot run it. I cannot push people away.
Please give us Saturday, please.
Saturday. Okay, Saturday.
Please give us more time. Give us more time.
More time, like when you should be exact. This is Python. We need to know exactly when we are biting.
I know we need to know when we are biting, but after biting, we need to know how long the treatment is going to take.
Okay, Saturday, guys. Saturday, please. Let's try and make it work for us on Saturday. Okay. If you have any challenge right now, please just let me know. All right. At this particular point, I would like to say good night to everyone and thank you for joining. And please do not give up. If you feel like giving up, contact me and tell me that this is how it's doing me. I'll always find a way. If you need a private class, I'm always here to help you out. But at that one, I will add an additional fee. Maybe we could start with 100K up. So at that particular point, we can actually know that you are very serious about the only student. All right, at this point, let us call it a night and good night to everyone.